my husband and I met in college while he was stalking me. I think y'all know what I'm talking about, don't you? He was so tickled with me. He was on fire for me. That he bought me presents for no reason, no special occasion. You boys know what he was after, don't you? I think you young boys call it milkshake. He wanted up in my yard to get my milkshake. He got it, okay? I married him, had 3 children by him. Things change when you've been married 100 years, doesn't it? Now I have to give birth to get a pair of earrings. Vaginal trauma, fine jewelry. Okay, it's a deal. My husband and I were at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and I was getting my undergraduate degree, and he was getting his MBA, and I thought, oh my gosh, he is so smart. He can reconcile a checkbook. We're going to have a good life. No telling where we're going to go and what we're going to do and the glamour. Well, we graduated, and he decided to buy a used mobile home business in Bean Station, Tennessee. Is this thing on? I said a used mobile home business. Do y'all know where Bean Station, Tennessee is? Oh, it's at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. Have you ever seen Deliverance? Maybe you young people sing Sling Blade. Because I know y'all haven't watched Deliverance. Well, he moved me up there. And I think I've got cedar fever. You think that ice would have killed it. But anyway, what was I saying? He moved me up there, and he wanted me to be in sales for him in the mobile home business. So I did that day. Until I saw a family drive up in a gremlin with the window down and a 9-year-old smoking a cigarette. She lit it off of her Mimo. So I quit that day. And I went home and I got pregnant that night.
Well, all over the United States, they've got this thing called Competition Cheer. And it's kind of like, if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like Honey Boo Boo meets the Olympics. Really. It's gymnast. They're gymnasts. And there's one in Knoxville called the Sharks. And they said, drop your baby off and she can try out to audition, whatever you want to call it. So I dropped her off, and they ended up putting her on a bad Mama Jamma team because all the little children her age came up to hear on her. And somebody's got to throw them up in the air. So they were thrilled with her, and they treated us like royalty. But anyway, they said, you're going to come in here twice a week, learn a 2-minute routine. It's going to cost you $150 a month. It's like, okay. They said, there's a uniform that you're going to order, and it comes to here. It's going to expose her stomach. She's going to have a tiny skirt on with a slit in it with a glitter panty underneath it. It's $300. I said, that's a whore outfit. And it came with its own bag of whore makeup. So that all the little children could look alike. And they said, y'all are gonna travel to faraway lands and compete against other little whore children. So we went to like Cincinnati or Atlanta. And we had to get hotel rooms and the gas and all of that. And then you drive up to a big coliseum, a huge coliseum. And there's tens of thousands of little whore children walking around. And my husband said, there could be pedophiles here. This is the awfulest thing I've ever, something's not right. Okay, so then they said, you're gonna pay $150 for your baby to be in this competition. You're gonna have to pay $30 to put a band on to get in and watch your baby in this competition. Somebody was selling corn dogs for $15. Okay. They start out with the babies, so it goes from 5 to 18 ages. So the babies come out in a tiny little skirt about the size of a napkin. And they come out to Beyoncé's All the Single Ladies. And their little mamas are in their 20s. And they're not bitter yet. And they're in the front doing every move to keep their baby on track because they're babies and they need to be at home breastfeeding. So they move up throughout the day into my baby's age, and they're the reef sharks. They call out that name, honey, for 2.5 minutes. My baby throws little children up in the air, flinging little children, broken out in a sweat, working like a Trojan. Did you see my Spanx? Okay. All right. One of my girls said I look like Miley Cyrus in the Wrecking Ball in my Spanx. But anyway, so she throws these little children up. The little children she's throwing up in the air are the flyers. They call them the flyers. And they're freakishly tiny little children. I don't know where these people come from. Their mamas are freakishly tiny. I mean, I come from big people. I've got thick ankles. I can work in the fields. And the whole time she's throwing them up there, these little girls are going. Nobody knows why, really. So at the end of the routine, after the 2.5 minutes, the finale, everybody hunkers down on the stage, puts their forehead on the stage, and my baby is the finale. She pops up and has a little child's foot in her hand and holds that child's foot. I would put it all the way up, but my dress is tight in the back. But anyway, she holds this little child up over her head. Are y'all listening to me? I mean, it was a big deal. I mean, could you hold her up over your head or vice versa? I mean, you know, it's a big deal. So anyway, everybody went nuts. But she said, after it was over, she goes, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to go back to playing. She ended up playing volleyball the rest of her childhood. But she said, I'm keeping that whore outfit. She said, I'm going to get married in it.
I'm tickled to death to be here in Austin. It's one of my favorite places. Kumbaya. Kumbaya. Got all my young, hip people over here. Feel good. Not dragged down by a bunch of kids. Look, woo! She feels good. Date night, fun. Oh, y'all. Some of y'all are looking at me like, we've been stuck in the house all week in that ice. And now we bought tickets to Hee Haw. Yep, you did. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee, but I feel very connected to Texas people because I lived in San Antonio for 3 years, and about 3 years ago, and Davy Crockett, I have to mention that every time because of Davy Crockett, the Tennessee Volunteers, all those boys, we saved y'all.
No, you know what I've been thinking about? I thought about, Lord, Christmas is coming. And now I'm a grandmama, and I'm out making a little money. But when I was a stay-at-home mom, when we first got started out and had little children, I remember thinking, oh my Lord, that Little Tykes kitchen's gonna sell out. And my husband doesn't like to let go of money till right at the end of Christmas. And I'm like, I gotta get there. Oh, okay, I'll do something nasty. I'm gonna... Okay, I'll do something nasty in that big Dodge Ram in that mobile home parking lot. Yeah, and then I'll be able to get that Elmo. Yeah. Y'all won't believe the things I've done so my children could have a good Christmas. You know, but they always did. Oh, you little mamas, God love you. And then you got to clean everything and cook and then wrap. I had a good friend that she said to her husband, if you'll wrap 3 Christmas presents, I'll have sex with you. She did. I remember that years ago, and I remember thinking, okay, I could do that. Maybe I could do that. Okay. The 5 love languages. All right. Me and Chuck Morgan in Sunday school class went on a retreat, and they talked to us about the 5 love languages. You know, and it's written by little Gary Chapman, who is a doll and tiny and that man's probably getting in his 90s, and he does sit-ups every day. And that little thing, and I got to meet him later. He was a doll. But anyway, the 5 love languages, if you don't know about that, you've got to get it. There was a 5 love languages for your marriage. And then there's one for your children, and you need to get that. Everybody's got a love language, and you take the test. You got to read the book and take the test. Well, you don't read the book, I didn't, but you can take the test. I like to read books about Hollywood murder. So anyway, you take the test, and then and your husband takes the test, and you find out what his love language is, and he finds out what your love language is. And if you find that out, then you can feed them their love language. And then, so I can feed Chuck Morgan his love language, and then his love tank feels full. If I don't, he could go to work and be at a water fountain, and some whore comes up to him and starts feeding him his love language, and then he feels a tingle, and then Satan swoops in. So these are the 5 love languages. Quality time. If you may know somebody that just wants you to sit on the couch and watch ESPN with them. Something like that. Then there's gifts. That's my sister's love language. It doesn't have to be something expensive. Just so you thought of her, if you buy her a card and a rose from the grocery store, she'll bawl her eyes out. And then there's words of affirmation. That's mine. But physical touch. Physical touch, which I know every woman in here is like, that's my husband. Physical touch. But it's not that kind of physical touch. We're talking about the physical, when you know people that just want to hug you and squeeze on you and all that all the time. That's their love language, is physical touch. But women think, oh, that's my husband's, and he's on me like a duck on a June bug. But that's not the... All right, and then there's words of affirmation. That's mine. So all Chuck Morgan has to do is say, you look beautiful tonight. You are a good mama. That Trisha Yearwood's chicken piccata is to die for. And then my love tank feels full, and then I'm willing to do something vulgar with him. And then he gives me money to get my hair highlighted. See? It works out, It's God's way. And then my husband's is acts of service. So for him to feel loved, I have to go in the garage and build a set of shelves.